Gamers Paradise here. We have not done a video on this channel in a while. I've mostly been focusing on my Twitch streams, but I figured something like this is something that I should put on the main channel, and it was originally part of a Twitch stream, and I hope that didn't come through. We got a follow because we just finished a stream also. Originally, this was part of stream where we were going over how the Dark Magician deck actually works. I wasn't able to cut it out of the stream properly, and then the video uploaded the other day, if you saw it, had no sound. So going over it again. The Magician's magic skill does not work the way it is worded. Whatever you see here isn't accurate, ignoring this part. This is completely accurate. Everything about the first part of the skill is translated properly. The second half of the skill has so many mistranslations and errors that I don't even know whether it's a bug or a translation mistake. So it says, return one Dark Magician Girl Magical Dimension and Magic Cylinder to your deck from your hand. Add one Dimension Conjure from outside of your deck to your hand, and then add one Dark Magician Girl to your hand. Reading it the way it is, you would assume you have to return Dark Magician Girl and Magical Dimension and Magic Cylinder, because that's how it's worded. It's supposed to say return one Dark Magician Girl Magical Dimension or Magic Cylinder to your deck. It's not supposed to say and. You don't need to return all three, it's just one of them. I've seen it come up multiple times, and I've seen people mention it before, where the skill isn't working as it's intended, and people aren't playing the deck, because even though Dark Magicians is the most played thing in Duel Links right now, the skill, unless you played the skill a lot, you don't know it works improperly. The next part of the skill works like an actual Yu-Gi-Oh card. Now, what do I mean by that? Most skills in the game don't actually follow card text or rulings, obviously. This one does. So when you activate this skill, if you do not have a second Dark Magician Girl in your deck, if one is in your hand, you cannot attempt to activate the skill. The comparison I will use is Lumina the Lightsworn Summoner's ruling, where Lumina, her effect to discard a card to special summon a Lightsworn monster from the graveyard, you cannot attempt to activate it unless a Lightsworn monster is in the graveyard. Even if discarding your card would put one in the grave, you can't activate this skill even if putting your Dark Magician Girl back in the deck would give you a Dark Magician Girl. The only exception to that is if Dark Magician is on the field, you can then activate this even without a Dark Magician Girl in the deck. It will let you just put the one in your hand back into the deck. Again, this is a glitch or translation error. It shouldn't work that way. But that means you need to play two Dark Magician Girls. And then the second part of the skill, this part works as intended, where if you control Dark Magician, you can add one Secrets of Dark Magic from your deck or graveyard to your hand. I don't know why it doesn't say to your hand, but it's to your hand. Now, this is kind of the standard build of the deck. I'm going to pull up one that's like very run-of-the-mill, like what you would expect. Actually, we'll go over this, it's easier. So these are all the tech choices the deck can have. The standard thing in the deck that the deck needs to play is 3 Apprentice Illusion Magician, 2 Dark Magician Girl, 3 Dark Magician, 3 Dark Magical Circle, 1 copy of Magical Dimension, and then 2 Secrets of Dark Magic. You could play 1, but I think 2 is the best way to play it. Everything else is tech cards, or I would argue you do need Book of Moon, but I digress. And then the extra deck staple is 2 Dark Magicians. Everything else is personal preference. So, as you can see, there's plenty of tech cards the deck can use. You can play Magician of Chaos to give you a destruction effect. You can play Pierce in the Darkness. For every time you normal a Dark Magician, you can draw a card, and it lets it run over anything. You can get Strength and Unity, because since you can't special summon Dark Magician from your hand or graveyard during their turn, you don't get the Circle Banish, but Unity would let you get it for Fusion Summoning or Ritual Summoning during their turn. So usually it's Fusion Summon, because you can't Ritual from the hand, obviously, then. Eternal Soul is to protect Dark Magician, and also to bring it back during your turn. It's just a good card. The deck is relatively linear. Like, if you want to play Kite Void and Octo Stretch, it's a more battle hand trap variant, where you don't play Compulsory Evacuation Device or anything. And because you play the Octo Stretch, you're able to play Dark Cavalry, which is a good card to play, because it just requires a warrior type. The gaining 100 attack, it kind of comes up. The main thing is the fact that the skill doesn't work as intended, and it's a big issue because I've seen many people playing the deck, or saw many posts of people where the deck isn't working, and it obviously isn't working because it's translated wrong or bugged, whatever's wrong with it. Magic Cylinder is also an option you can use in the deck because you could put it back, and it's also just a really good card to help close out games. A lot of people don't expect to run into a Magic Cylinder. If you draw it off of Magicians, you could use it during their turn. It's just overall pretty good. The next part of the combo, that's, again, the bread and butter artist skill, is relatively a fucking crazy skill. The Dimension Conjurer that you get obviously gets you to Magical Dimension. A neat combo between that is when you get to draw cards equal to your spellcasters, you could manipulate the top cards of your deck, giving you more synergy with the Dark Magician fusions. Again, really good to guarantee you can draw into any spells or traps that you might want or need for the environment. Like if you draw into a book or a compulse, or maybe you don't want to draw into those, you want to draw into your Apprentice Illusion Magician for battle. It's another good thing that works with the deck and allows it to function better, be more consistent, and take advantage of the Dark Magician's ability to keep drawing cards, which is a really good ability, obviously. The only downside comes with, if you do not have a Dark Magician in the deck, it cannot float into anything because you can't special summon anything on your opponent's turn from your hand or graveyard except level 6 spellcaster monsters. So if you only have 1 or 2 Dark Magicians left and it's in your hand or grave, you do not gain the advantage from the Dark Magicians, which is a big downside. Other tech choices, if you want to play a power spell variant where you focus on all the different support spells around the Magicians, like Dark Burning Attack to Tapu Raigeki, Dark Magic Attack for a Feather Duster, and Twin Burst to be able to run over everything, since this is one of the most played decks in the game. That lets you just beat over everything by gaining all the attack from the Dark Magicians. Another tech card that my friend has been playing and that I've been testing at his request is Offerings to the Doomed. I considered this originally. After playing with it, it comes down to personal preference. It is not a bad card. It is incredibly good. It lets you close out games very easily. It turns a lot of plays into an OTK play. But it just depends. Do you want to play a steamroll variant of a deck where you rush to the finish, or do you want to play Compulse to stall out more and control the field more? Or are you free to play and you do not have Compulse? Then obviously Offerings to the Doomed is really good because I have Compulse, my friend doesn't. And it is personal preference. I lean more towards a control variant where I like Compulse. If you A, don't have Compulse because you're free to play, or B, don't like Compulse, Offerings to the Doomed is a very good card. You also could opt to play Offerings, Book of Moon, and Compulse to just get the most value possible off of Dark Magicians. Piercing the Darkness is a card that after testing I think is valid of an option to play. It's a valuable card. The draw 1 is good. The fact that you could run over anything is really good. Strengthening Unity is more of it's not terrible. The fact that you could banish a card for fusion summoning is good. And the fact that it puts back a level 7 or higher into the deck so Dark Magicians can be live again makes it a pretty good option to play. It's not the best, but if you're wanting to fit cards in the deck or you're missing certain things, it's obviously not bad. Like, the fact that it banishes a card and lets you recycle and set up Dark Magicians again is good. I just think it's one of the worst options, all things considered, with what the deck can do. Now we're going to see a few of the builds used during the live streams. This one is my friend's build of the deck that he was wanting me to try on stream. Again, the standard 3 Apprentice Illusion, 2 Dark Magician Girl, triple Dark Magician, double Secrets, triple Book, triple Circle, the 1 Magical Dimension you need to play, and triple Offerings to the Doomed. Ignoring the fact that you need double Dark Magicians, the extra deck is pretty straightforward because you can only special summon spellcasters, obviously, and everything has to be a spellcaster, so it limits what you can play. Wee Witch's Apprentice is a really good card, though. The fact that it floats and gives you back a dark monster in the grave, boosts your attack. It's pretty good. Ebon Illusion, again, not many options. It's a limited extra deck, which you could expect. It's not a problem, really. This is a very standard, nice, clean build of the deck. You consistently get your Dark Magicians, you get your Apprentice Illusion Magicians, you get your Banishes, you get your Destructions with Offerings to the Doomed. It's pretty good. I have no complaints with it. This was the Hand Trap variant of the deck, where you don't play books. It's kind of a mid-range of aggressive and defensive, where you can block up to 6 attacks with these. You could super poly away the opponent's board. Instead of playing 2 circle, instead of playing 3 circle, plays 2 to make room for those extra cards. Takes advantage of piercing and strength and unity, magical dimension. Like, it's not. It's a good deck. Like, it's different than the other builds, but it comes out doing the same thing. You have 4 protection cards. You got a super poly that's aggressive or protective. You get the card advantage from piercing the darkness. This basically might be 3rd circle for banishing. And you still got the 2 Secrets of Dark Magic, so it works. This plays Dark Cavalry because you have Octostretch, so it gives you a negation for a target effect. Plays Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight, which I guess an Amulet Dragon, which don't see how you're summoning them, because the skill restriction. But I've seen so many builds do this, I don't know why. I think it's just people didn't realize the skill restriction when I've seen them and went over it. These should obviously be spellcaster monsters. They don't do anything. Just had to point it out there. And then this was the build. Another build using Eye of Timaeus. Again, this is pointless. We covered this on stream. This should instead be, you get rid of this, and this, and you'd be playing 3 Compulse. You get rid of these 2. Throw in standard extra deck. We have a few duels with the deck that we want to show off. Unfortunately, because of the last recording session being bugged, we did lose a lot of our replays we saved. We have a good chunk of them still. But unfortunately, we lost a good chunk of duels that I wanted to showcase. We're going to go over a few of these. Overall, the deck is incredibly consistent. It's incredibly powerful. I would say it might be the 2nd best deck in the format. It's obviously the most played deck in the format, all things considered, which makes sense. We had the highest win streak we had was 15 wins in Platinum before running into a loss because we bricked incredibly bad, which isn't common. As you can see here, we have the standard opening hand. I'm going to just fast forward to their turn. They're not playing the skill. Again, I think it's attributed to the fact the skill is translated incredibly horribly, and no one wants to play a skill that's essentially dead. In this scenario, we Dark Circle. They get their draw, we piercing. We get a free draw, we banish, and that's the end of the duel. The deck can close duels incredibly quickly when it's going second, because it turns Dark Magician into a very, very powerful banish that's insane. I don't remember what we were playing against here. I think this was Water. Yeah, we were playing against Water. Again, 11 win streak. Again, it gets an incredibly high win streak. The deck is incredibly consistent, incredibly explosive, incredibly powerful. This looks like a relatively brick hand, especially going first, but the fact that we just summon and set up for their turn, we change secrets, now we're safe from battle. That's unfortunate, but we draw into Book of Moon, and as usual, getting the fact that we get a free book, it's really strong. We book a Suprex. Duel doesn't go as nicely as I was hoping it would. They had the exact combo they needed to get around book. It doesn't really matter because we'll save ourselves from dying in battle thanks to Apprentice, which then means the Dark Magicians float, which is again their big strong suit that if you killed them, you get a +1, and they replace themselves really easily, which is amazing. I wish we could fast forward this a little quicker. Unfortunately, we don't get to. Again, saves us from dying by just 400 life points. Now we're kind of in a bad situation. We're kind of slow rolling the duel. And they end up scooping because at that point, you're not really going to be able to crack the board quick enough, and this deck just gets too much advantage at that scenario. I don't know, maybe they could have eked out a win. Maybe their hand was worse than I thought, or they expended too many resources. Then this one, I think, is a train duel. Pretty sure, yeah, it's trains. Win streak of 10. Again, we got a really high win streak. The deck is really good. This is objectively fucking terrible that happened, and then we joined the Dark Magician, and they are the Cyclone for our circle. And even then, it doesn't matter. Thanks to the skill, like, just cheating out the card we need, we can go for game through whatever they got. We punch over that. We fuse into Dark Magicians, and that's game. Deck, again, as you see, it's incredibly explosive. It can push through game through most things. Doesn't really have an issue with most matchups. I would say Phantom Knights still eke it out a little bit more about being the best deck in the game, but this isn't far behind it. I would say if you already have the Apprentice Illusion Magicians, because again, that's a very important part of the deck. You need Apprentice Illusion Magician. Without that, it's not nearly consistent enough, and it's just not worth it. If you have Apprentice Illusion Magician, though, it's relatively free-to-play / cheap, because the structure deck reprints Circle and gives you everything else you need in it. And if for some reason you don't have Dark Magician going Dark Magician, each purchase gives you one of each. You might be missing this, most of the extra deck, but again, you usually just go into the Dark Magicians. It's not a big problem. It would suck, but it's not a huge problem. I don't think there's much else to cover. I don't really want to just force the video to keep going for no reason. I don't really entirely remember what I covered in the original recording of this, which is the problem, and I apologize for that. I hope you enjoy. Please click the link down below to follow my Twitch, twitch.tv/gamersparadise12. We go live semi-regularly. So far, we've been on a nice 5 or 6 day streak. We try to go live every day, playing Duel Links, Master Duel, and we're going to start doing some Dragon Ball content because of the announcement of Tenkaichi 4. So I hope you all will turn out, follow, help me grow both channels. I'd be really appreciative. Comment, like, and subscribe for more content. We're going to be adding more content to the channel. We're going to be uploading a Dokkan Battle summoning video soon. Should have gone live earlier, but because of the issues with the original version of this video, which I apologize if you saw a video without sound, I try to make sure I have things working properly, and then mistakes happen. Thank you all. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope this is able to help people understand how the skill works, because it's translated horribly. It is very, very bad. I do not know why the hell the skill doesn't do anything it says it's supposed to do. Thank you all. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, follow my Twitch. I'm going to be bringing more content to this channel soon. Gamers Paradise, signing out.